Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for our Village of Alsip Committee meeting. Today is February 26th, 2024, and we're going to call this meeting to order at 7:31 p.m. Can you call the roll, please?
Trustee Dalzell?
Here.
Trustee Juarez Mendoza is absent. Trustee McLaughlin? Here. Trustee Murphy?
Here.
Trustee Navas Barza? Here. Trustee Peretta?
Here.
Mayor Ryan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So before we start with our reports, we have a bid opening this evening. This will be for the water main improvements on 116th Place, which is also 117th Street. And have the distance on there, but Danny, we're talking like Colin to like Joyous? Okay. And then we're also for the roof replacement for the public work garage and the pump station. Stations, Dan, too? Just that one, because the other one's kind of new yet. I see. Okay, so pump station.
All right, our first one is the water main improvements. There were 2 bids dropped off. The first one is Aries Inc., located at 21825 Cherry Hill Road, Joliet, Illinois, 60433. There is a bid bond. And their total proposal is $875,500 even, 875,500. All right, the second one we got from H. Linden and Sons, located at 722 East South Street, Unit D, Plano, Illinois, 60545. There is a bid bond. Their total is $927,775 even, so $927,775. And those are the only 2 bids we received for the water main. There was Calumet City Plumbing on here, but they never dropped anything off. Okay, so for the roof, we have 6 to open. The first one is J&F Chiatello Construction, Inc., located at 1387 Joliet Street, Unit C, Dyer, Indiana, 46311. There is a bid bond. Just make sure this is the total. Okay, so their total is $429,148 even. That's $429,148. Well, they gave me 2 copies, but they both, oh, let me see. They both have the same price. I don't see any other pricing on here. Like, they have the unit pricing, but no other total. Let me just make sure it wasn't. Yeah, like, there's 2 copies of this, but they're both the same price. And these other documents are the bid bond stuff. So, yeah, only that one price on there. Mm-hmm. Okay, the next one is Ridgeworth Roofing Co., Inc., located at 121 Ontario Street, Frankfort, Illinois, 60423. There is a bid bond. And there's only one price in this one as well. Their price is $483,410. So 483,410. The next one is Olson, located at 740 South Lake Street, P.O. Box 1450, Aurora, Illinois, 60507. There is a bid bond. Let's see. Okay, so they have a total and then they have an alternative as well. So their total is 382,000. That's 382 even. And then it says proposed alternative to add 28,700. And then, yeah, that's the only other price on that one. Okay, the next one is Ridderford Roofing Company, located at 2333 Hamilton Road, Arlington Heights, Illinois, 60005. There is a bid bond. Make sure these are both the same. Okay, so this one does have 2 price ones. So the price for the work is $540,200, so 540,200. And then it says the work, to complete the work by June 1st would be $533,100. Okay, the next one is Top Roofing, located at 2206 North Main Street, Suite 204, Wheaton, Illinois, 60187. There is a bid bond. And their total price, they only have one price, but theirs is $352,000 even, so 352 even. And the last one is Knickerbocker Roofing and Paving Company, located at 16851 South Lathrop Avenue, Harvey, Illinois, 60426. There is a bid bond. There are two prices. So, approval to mobilize on or before 5/1/24 would be $443,960 even, so 443,960. Approval to mobilize on or after 6/1/24 would be $475,630, so 475,630. And those are all the bids that we received.
Okay, thank you very much. Some 42. Just do me a favor, keep an eye and see if anybody comes up on a Zoom thing here. Gentleman from Ohio wasn't able to be with us. Oh, there he is now. There you go. Just jump up on top if you could admit him. There you go. Great. Jared, we're going to try this. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Jared? Raj, double check and just make sure the mute's not on our side. No, I'm saying in the icon in the far left corner. Just make sure we're not muted for any reason. We're okay. Hey, Jared, can you hear us?
Doesn't appear so.
Uh-huh. Is that us, Roger, or him? He's probably trying to reboot it. Okay, just watch if he comes back up. I'll skip that for a moment. That was Jared Cummins with Kroger Stores. Let me go to the next item I had on my agenda. We'll start with our officer reports, starting with mine. First, we had Kroger Stores. He's on a Zoom call, so we'll see if we get him connected in a minute. The next was, I can move down the line here. The discussion regarding the request to contract with Satori Energy to secure discounted pricing for village-owned properties only. Just to let everybody know, I had gotten a message from Satori, who's done our our utility shopping for us for the last maybe 6 years or so. And Molly was supposed to get me a current price today, and I didn't see it yet. But just in comparison, last time we signed a contract with these folks was in 2022. And let's say for like a 3-year engagement, let's say for a natural gas supply for village-owned properties, we were paying for gas, it was 0.6679 per therm. And the price of that today is actually 0.4829, so it's actually quite a bit less right now than two. So,
But that last contract we signed was 3 years.
exactly. These don't. Its project start date wouldn't be until September of 25. You know, in other words, there's opportunities to lock in rates sooner than later and stuff for these energy costs. And this is what happened with us last time we signed with these two, is the available cost of discounted energy, and obviously they're trying to lock in customers. Unfortunately, trustees, I'll come back to you with this because, again, I was hoping to get a current quote. The quotes that she gave me were dated February 1st from a few weeks ago, and I don't have a comparative for the electric. Right now, electric is it's just the number doesn't mean anything to us right now. It's just 0.05994 per kilowatt. So I don't have anything to compare that to just at the moment. I'll get back to everybody on this at our next meeting yet too. Like I said, I was supposed to have that before the start of the meeting this evening. Talk about current rates. Jared, can you hear me now? I hate our system. I did this earlier today, and for the most part, these things work all the time, but we're struggling with our Zoom. Anyway, I'd like to... There you go. There you go. Jared, can you hear me now? I can see you, but I can't hear you. Or you can't hear me. All right. Sorry about that. Marty, obviously, thank you for being here as well, too. So, trustees, we had put this back on tonight's agenda. I apologize for the technical difficulty we always seem to have with this. The official request from Kroger stores is that they were in your packets this evening. It says, as discussed, Kroger is requesting a change of the current liquor license to an on-premises Class S consumption license classification, which provides for on-premises consumption at Food for Less in a private and secure gaming consumption area that they've given us a layout to that we asked for as far as where that space would be dedicated in their store. Originally, we had thought it was going into the what used to be a mini bank, but now it's actually in the corner of the store with a privacy screen around it that we see in many gas stations and so forth. It seems to be a popular look. They say we're not intending to make on-site consumption a primary focus of this request, or our expansion. They are merely looking to incorporate video gaming into their stores statewide and obtaining combined consumption at the store that allow them to do this. As part of this request, Kroger also intends to enhance a Beer of the Month offering for this purpose. Their primary function as a grocery store still will continue in place as we use this enhancement to adapt and bring customers a unique and relaxing experience while coming into their stores should they choose to use it. A positive impact on the community is their primary consideration. So again, I apologize that the representative is in Ohio and couldn't be here this evening. Marty McAlpin is here as well. Marty, you actually represent the gaming organization though, right? You're not with Kroger.
That's correct, Mayor. I'm here representing the partnership between Kroger and Prairie State Gaming. Jared, I believe, would like to talk, and trying to get him on if the board would permit it.
Can you get him on the phone, Marty?
Yeah, I think that would be, potentially a route.
Go ahead,
to
if you can bring him
You
up.
would just give me a second here.
Yeah.
Hey, Jared, I'm going to put you on speaker here. All right, Jared, you're on speaker here with the board and the mayor.
Can you hear us, Jared?
Good evening, everybody.
Hi, sorry about the sound difficulties with this. We used to see on camera, but the phone is fine.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
You know what, Marty, can you bring it up to me? I can put it near a speaker so everybody can hear what he's saying. All right? Thank you. So, Jared, we just, I was just reading what what was in your packet, basically, of the intent, and certainly your request for this Class S liquor license to be considered. Go ahead, if you want to speak to it.
Yeah, I think I appreciate the time again, Mr. Mayor, and to the board. We continue to do the diligence work. I think last time we had met, there was a request to understand what or maybe where the location would be in the store, and then roughly how we would build it out. I think, if I remember right, there was a conversation as to whether or not we would be able to open up where we had previously had, I believe it was a bank. And I think what you'll be able to see in the packet that Martin has is kind of a rendering of what we would look to do. And that's establish, if you will, kind of a gaming center. I'll call it, I guess, as you're in the store, probably to the immediate left as you walk in, and just past the front end registers. And I don't have the diagram in front of me, but what you would see is we would essentially partition off a section. That section would still be open for line of sight visibility for our associates from compliance standards and best practice setup, if you will. So that was, I think, really what we were going to do today is reconvene, and the request from the board had been to look at, again, what the setup would look like and what the location would be.
Understood. I did have in our packets, everybody's got a picture of what the gaming area looks like with the privacy screen that goes around it, as well as the location, and near the, at the front of the store, but more so near like the liquor department, near the cash registers. And then we were provided, I gave everyone a handout to demonstrate where the location of that is from a top view of the store.
Yep.
So, trustees, did you have any questions for Jared?
Mr. Mayor, the only thing that I would add just real quick, and I'm not sure if Martin was able to condense some images we had shown him today, but it's a different type of gaming product. It's a co-am gaming product, very similar, I think, in look and feel, just a different kind of form factor in the play. But we just launched our first destination in Georgia last week. Hopefully, I'm not sure, Martin, maybe you could tell me if you were able to bring some of those images in. But it's kind of an example of kind of a standard that we would expect in our store, and the environment. And we had the head of the GLC. So the GLC, the Georgia Lottery Committee, governs the COAM, if you will, gaming product in the state of Georgia, and he attended that first launch. And to his words, I'm going to paraphrase a little bit, but it was the highest standard of compliance and execution that he has seen in the state.
Okay.
And that's, again, going to be continue to be our our premise as we go forward, is not only to provide what we think is the best in class safety and compliant model, but also customer expectations as well. And I'm quite certain we'll hit that mark.
Very good. I appreciate the info on that, too. Marty, did you have something that you can visually show that to the board?
Yes, I'm working on pulling that up here.
Okay, he's pulling it up here, Jared.
Yeah, it was, we had mentioned before, Mr. Mayor, as I continue to look at these and some of the locations they're in, and it's not just Illinois, it's across the state. Some of the locations, just by product, I would not describe as probably safe, convenient, or of high standard. And Georgia's a great example. A lot of bars and C-stores wind up being the predominant player in this market, and their compliance score is typically very, very low. And with just missing simple things, decals and age requirements and and ADA standards and pieces like that. And, it's very difficult for a state to manage that. And, it was just one of those things, naturally anything's going to launch really clean and nice, but I think if Mark can show the pictures, there's an overabundance of compliance-related visibility as standards and practices that are put in place. And as I said before, that'll absolutely, I would imagine any state we go into, we would be the most, absolutely at the top of any peer in terms of compliance and standard.
Okay.
And Jared, so I do have those pictures. If you can send me the fresh pictures because of a permission issue, signing in and obtaining them for the sharing right now.
Did you hear what he's saying, Jared?
I did.
Yeah.
And I will just send it to him right now.
Okay. Go ahead.
Either way, so what Jared's referring to there is the COAM market in Georgia, which, as he pointed out, Kroger is involved with as well in this similar market space, demonstrating compliance and best practices there in that market. Different market than Illinois, but those pictures should provide an example to show generally what we're thinking about in terms of the product within the location.
Okay. As an aside, but kind of like on the same lines, I was going to bring this up later in my report, is certainly I like the idea of supporting grocery stores in any capacity, because certainly they service not just Alsip, but the surrounding communities as well. And just at the end of last week, our Governor Pritzker announced that part of his budget for next year, fiscal year 25, is he wants to actually eliminate grocery tax. And the impact to our community with all of the groceries is, I had a quick study done, and this could be as much as $660,000 a year that the village of Alsip would be, you have to, basically, if that's taken from us, from the state, because that's 1% in perpetuality yet, too. I mean, this is something that will go on forever. $660,000 is very important in our budgets and stuff. And while we're blessed to have the interest of surrounding communities shop on our main streets and our 4 major grocery stores that we have here, I believe now more than ever, I think we should do what we can to help these establishments, because it helps offset our costs. Right now, all the mayors are doing what they can to have the governor's office understand the impact of what this is going to be on our communities. In fact, the Illinois Municipal League is asking for everybody to kind of share with them as far as what potential lost revenues you're going to have, because right now, when you've got all these surrounding communities that pay into the system like this, $660,000 is a lot of money, and what we'd eventually end up doing is putting that cost back on our taxpayers, which we don't want to do. Right now we've got numerous communities and shoppers that are helping us offset those costs or pay those costs, and I disagree with what the governor is trying to rescind. Because I really think it's important to our budgets. $660,000 pays for quite a bit of public safety personnel, pays for a lot of things that we do. And again, I don't, every community around here just loathes the idea of having to incorporate more on our taxpayers. They have enough on their backs already. So, Jared, did you have what you needed? Or, I'm sorry, Marty, did you get what you needed?
Oh, sorry, it hasn't come through. It's a Microsoft PowerPoint
That's fine.
sign-in issue.
Yeah, Marty. Maybe what I'll do is, Marty, I'll just send you a couple images via text, because the deck that she sent me is going to be hard to get to go through.
I think actually, Jared, I think we're okay. I think we've discussed this couple of times here, and I think that the board's got the gist of what we want to accomplish. I'm going to keep my meeting moving along right now, but I'll finish with what I have on my agenda here, okay?
Okay. Absolutely. If you need anything else, please don't hesitate to reach out. Appreciate all of your time as we work through this.
Understood. Thank you, Jared.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay. So, trustees, what I had on your agendas this evening was a request, first was a request to, well, we just did it. We just discussed this floor plan that they had, Kroger was introducing for video gaming within their store at 12150 South Pulaski. Second was a request for a consensus to have the village attorney draft an ordinance to create a new Class S liquor license. Again, this is something new that's going to be dedicated to just grocery stores, not convenience stores or anything like that. I certainly didn't want to just have the attorney spend the time to draft this if the board didn't want it, which is why why I'm asking for a consensus on this. Was there any questions on the Class S license?
So just an overview, Mayor, of what the S is. Could you tell what that is? Just the overview?
Well, the
What does it
Class S
entail?
license shall authorize the retail sale on specified premises of alcoholic liquor in its original package as part of a grocery store that's engaged principally in the sale of canned goods, dry goods, such as tea, sugar, flour, cereals, and the alike, fresh fruits and vegetables, fresh and prepared meats, fish, poultry, and typical household goods, but not including any establishment commonly understood to be a drugstore or a food pantry or a convenience mart, and shall authorize the sale on the specified premises of alcoholic liquor for limited consumption only within the designated seating or cafe area, subject to numerous conditions here then too. And it's really, basically, it's when the store is open.
Okay, so can they walk around the store with an open can?
No, that's why they're saying it's designated to just that seating area, yes.
Got it. Okay.
Trustees, at this time, I'd like to ask for a consensus to have the village attorney draft an ordinance to create this Class S liquor license. Madam Clerk, if you can call a roll on that.
Roll call number 1 for consensus, trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez Mendoza is absent. Trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Navas Barza.
No.
Trustee Peretta.
Yes.
You have your consensus.
Thank you very much. Next, this will be on for our next meeting, but it'll be a request to approve a Class S liquor license for the Food for Less store at 12150 South Pulaski in Alsip. So I'll put that on next week's agenda for consideration. Thank you very much, trustees, for creating that license, and I'll let Attorney Mike Kankar know. We already discussed Satori Energy, and then last on my report was a discussion and request to approve an amendment to portions of the Village of Alsip Ordinance, Chapter 15.5 Personnel. First was letter A. This is Section 15.5-16, Residence Requirements for Village Personnel. And what I had in everybody's packet here, the only change I wanted to make to this ordinance was to, we have on here, what it used to say was all appointed employees shall be or become bona fide residents of the Village of Alsip within 6 months of completion of their applicable probation period. What I want to change that to is I want to line that out and say all appointed employees shall live within 25 miles of the Village of Alsip corporate boundaries in the state of Illinois. This applies to the police chief and deputy police chief, fire chief and deputy fire chief, the building commissioner, public work superintendent, water commissioner, director of emergency preparedness, director of fire prevention, and the IT manager. The reason I said that too is I went back and looked at all of their appointments, and it originally did say they have to live within 25 miles. I just want to acknowledge that in fact already said that. That's not new for the IT manager. It already said that for that position in our ordinance. And another part of that you have to look at. And further, police lieutenants may follow the collective bargaining agreement for police in effect at the time of said appointment. And the other part of, and so that was, first off, let's talk about this real quick. That's the only change I wanted to make to section 15.516. Was there any question on that, on resident requirements? The reason, again, that folks, I want to do this is, I certainly, I want to help inspire succession within the ranks of all departments and stuff, and too, you know, I mean, when, the way the language used to be is very confined, and we found out through the courts as well that you cannot deny, especially in public safety, you can't deny promotions based on residency. There's been cases that have been lost by villages because of which, and certainly we want to let our employees know who are coming up the ranks and are made a career here with the village to know that they have a place with us, that there is a place for them moving into management and so forth, and I certainly want to encourage that whenever possible. We've got some great department heads sitting in front of us here this evening yet too. You guys do a really good job, all of you. And certainly, you know your employees want to know that there's a place for them too, as they come up through the ranks, and then they're not going to be forced, obviously because of the old language, that they would have to live within the village. I know per state, I had it in one of our previous handouts, per state statute, it said you don't have to exempt the police chief or fire chief, but I feel it fair to include them in the same pattern that we're doing for the other positions here. Again, any questions on that, trustees? Okay. And then the second half of this would be fleet management. So this would be letter B, section 15.544. Village fleet management for take-home vehicles. We already have this in our ordinances now for on-call. The way it's written is on-call. Certain village employees are required to be on-call and are allowed to use village vehicle to drive to and from work. Employee families are not allowed to ride in the village vehicle. The village vehicle is to be used for village business only. Personal use of the village vehicle is not allowed. Also, employees using village vehicles for emergency purpose must follow department rules. Number 5, the second part of this is marking of village vehicles. This is already in the ordinance. It says all non-emergency village vehicles must be marked, indicating that it is a village vehicle on the department that it's assigned to.
What does marked mean?
Pardon me?
What does marked mean?
Part of that, trustee, was kind of lined out. I don't have that in front of me, but you're supposed to have actual 4-inch letters on the vehicle demonstrating what department, like if it's public work or water and that kind of thing. Too.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen vehicles that we have in the village already that have a number on the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And the number is innocuous and
So we're not adhering to current
it's
ordinance.
the same color as the vehicle. And
Yeah, I can't.
if we're going to say it's marked, let's be a little bit more definitive. Do we put a symbol of the village? Do we mark it as the Village of Alsip with water department or building department or police department or fire department? It just...
You know what, trustee, I agree, and I'll tell you what, maybe by, Chief, can you pull up the Municode? I'm in a different screen here right now, but can you pull that part of it up? Because there is some language that was lined out in a previous meeting, like from back in like 2016. It actually identifies what trustee Dalzell is talking about. I tried doing it on my phone just now, but I'm not really picking up like I would on a bigger screen. What I had next, folks, was I had a note, should the board wish to impose, right now the village does not impose any taxes on take-home vehicles. Should the board wish to impose a tax for allowing for allowing non-first responders access to take-home vehicles, please consider the following tax template. And I got this from our finance director. This is a general rule under IRS. Police and fire may be excluded if they are determined to be always on call or working. 1 is to take the Blue Book value of a vehicle. 2, use the IRS lease value conversion table as stated in the IRS 2024 publication 15B. This is the employer's tax guide to fringe benefits. define the value of the vehicle. Third, apply the employee's percentage, and this means commuting to and from work or any other personal miles used during the period. Preferably a signed letter from the employee stating that what was used as personal. And then last is take this calculated amount and add it to their W-2 as a non-cash taxable transaction. So it is taxed on the W-2, not reoccurring on paychecks and that kind of thing yet then too. And again, this is up to the board, how you wish to apply this. We haven't done it.
I was going to say, but Mayor, from the tax perspective, legality, the reason why we haven't taxed it up until this point in time is because all of our department heads with take-home vehicles live within the village.
Yes.
And so therefore, the commuting percentage of the miles on the vehicle is negligible, and so therefore doesn't need to be included in the taxes. But if all of a sudden somebody is now driving 25 miles each direction, that percentage of the mileage on the vehicles becomes considerable, and so therefore the majority of the value of the car is now going towards commuting as opposed to routine village business. So that's the difference in not just that we blindly decided not to tax it, it's because of the situation and where the vehicles have been. And once they start leaving town, the whole situation has changed.
Oh, agreed. That's why I put that on. And we could add this
Well, I
to
just want to see, it's not just the board wishes. I mean,
Oh, no,
IRS
no.
regulations state.
Right, no, but I'm saying, in other words, we could probably put that caveat in here to say, should a non-first responder wish to utilize the vehicle if moving outside of the village is when this would apply, right?
Well, and then we would have to discuss the different non-first responders need to be taking the vehicle.
I don't think it's something that the village, under a local ordinance, can exempt. It's an IRS ruling,
Right.
way outside of our scope.
Sure.
And the IRS was the one that actually brought forth that tax code that mandated this. So I agree with trustees, the usage of the vehicles in Alsip makes it a little bit crazy.
I agree, and that's what I'm saying. You know, this was past practice when I took office. That it wasn't there, and certainly if you know, as you said, we're not higher than the IRS. We don't overrule the IRS, but well, that's kind of basically at the same time. That's why I said, should the board wish to impose this, because it hasn't been imposed before.
Again, it hasn't been imposed before because the vehicles don't leave town.
Right.
That's the distinction. And
Should the vehicles stay here, certainly there would be no reason to tax them because they're parked here.
Right.
If somebody were moving out of town. is what
But
I'm saying.
if for any reason somebody moves out of town and and still has a take-home vehicle, then it's not a board choice. That will now become taxable.
As Trustee Dalzell is saying, though, if I'm interpreting you right too, Trustee Dalzell, you're saying this, regardless if they're here or there, you're saying the same thing applies. The same applies whether they're
I
in
see.
village or not.
Technically, it does.
Right.
But again, because all of the people with vehicles at this point in time reside in the village. I mean, when you're talking about calculating the percentage, and if you're going to say 0.5% is personal miles and the other 99.5% of the vehicle is driven on village business, again, it's negligible and not worth the time and the documentation.
And for the times that they are responding to these things outside of normal hours, it's to the village's benefit as well as theirs.
I agree
The
with you.
vehicle right there, so
Right.
I'm not opposed to that at all.
Okay.
It's, if you take 52 weeks, which nobody works all that, but if it was 52 weeks, 5 days a week, 50 miles, the max that we added on to these is 13,000 miles annually for the purpose of going to and from home.
Mm-hmm.
So is 13,000 miles a lot per year maximum, as opposed to the miles that we have on the cars? I'm not even sure what percentage that equates to.
All right. Is there any, okay, I'll leave that just the way it stands on for right now then, too. It's for whether or not you want to impose this at this time, or does the board wish to have anyone that doesn't live in town that this would apply to?
I don't think it's our purview.
That's where I started, right.
Right,
why I
so
put it
that's
on
why
there.
it's having, should the board wish to impose, it's not our decision. It's the IRS's decision, and
So we're going to go status quo, and should anyone be a non-first responder that doesn't live within the village, we'll leave their vehicles here.
Why
That's
wouldn't
what
we
makes
just
the
have
most
that for,
sense.
why wouldn't we just have that for everybody? If you live in the village, keep the car. If you don't live in the village,
The car
leave the
stays
car
here.
here. And then just ignore all of this.
You can't do that to the public safety.
Right, that's what I was saying with the police and fire, you can't do that.
Then live in town.
No, public safety is exempt.
That's what I'm saying, they're exempt.
The IRS code exempts public safety.
Right.
It just seems like a lot of headaches. And there's a lot of loopholes in this.
well, there's
a
an
disaster.
awful lot of documentation that needs to be done.
Yeah, you need a full-time person just to iron all this out. Crazy.
All right, thank you.
Sounds like government.
And then, well, thank you. And then, as I said too, I just told everybody about the 1% grocery tax, and again, the impact of that is huge. So I am going to ask our legislators to really take a good look at this. The Illinois Municipal League is actually guesstimating right now the impact on Illinois municipalities is going to be in excess of $325 million in grocery tax alone. So, again, it might seem like a great idea, but I had some relatives over at my place over the weekend that would live in Mount Greenwood, and I was explaining to them, like, oh, that's great. I'm like, not really. I says, because, again, now you're going to ask the Alsip residents to assume all the cost for what surrounding communities are helping offset and stuff into. So, I mean, it seems like a great feel-good on the downstate in Springfield, but it's not.
It's the same thing as the gas tax. You get people from neighboring communities coming in, buying gas here, offsets those costs for the neighbors, for the village residents.
Well, you know, the downstate, the capital, actually, during COVID, when they suspended grocery taxes, we were actually reimbursed for that. We actually get a check after that and stuff then, too, which is awesome. I'd welcome that in a minute, but that's not the case now, so. All right, that's all I had for my report this evening. We'll go to the clerk's report. Clerk Harding?
Thank you, Mayor. I have the presentation of the February 19th, 2024 board meeting minutes, and that is all I had.
Okay, thank you. We don't need an attorney. Engineer is not here this evening. Public forum. We didn't have anyone in our
We
audience
didn't
this
have any
evening.
students, what the?
So we'll go to our standing committee reports, starting with Finance and IT. Trustee McGlohan?
Thank you, Mayor. I will have the usual list of payroll and accounts payable for approval next week, and that's all I have this evening.
Trustee, just want to let your committee and everyone know, all the trustees know that the finance director and the HR manager and a couple of others, they did a second interview on Friday with a staff accountant applicant, and they did make a job offer to that person today.
Great.
Waiting to hear back from that. I should hear something by tomorrow on that. And so they said it was a great interview, and thinks this person is going to make a very good employee here. We'll go to the Fire Committee. Trustee Murphy?
I have nothing tonight, Mayor, but the fire chief is requesting that we have a fire committee meeting before the March 4th meeting at 6:45, hoping that everyone can join us for that, and that's all I have.
Why don't we just discuss it at a normal committee?
It's lengthy.
Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be in depth.
Okay?
Well, we can still do it at the regular committee meeting.
Right. I mean, it's
we
the
have no
entire
time limit.
board that's involved in this decision. It's for the acquisition of equipment and such, so I don't understand why we wouldn't.
You know,
And saying at the same time, it's not our fault he's not here tonight.
all right, you folks, you tell me, trustee, it's your committee. Do you,
If we don't have attendance, we very well can't have it.
well,
So-
that's always the tough part, is you get a 3-person committee, and every so often that just as a hiccup, if one person misses, then you're done.
Right.
So you have to call a committee of the whole. If you're going to call a committee of the whole, you might as well just do it at 7:30.
I mean, you're the chair. If that's what you want to do, I'll be here.
Again, I would look for participation,
So let's call
and
it
everyone participate.
I'll be here.
a meeting of the whole.
Yes.
It's 6:45.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll ask the clerk's office to do that.
And that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you. Police and traffic safety, trustee Dalzell.
Chief, I'd like to bring up a couple of things.
Okay.
I just wanted to let everybody know that on Friday, Officer Jade Briscaro, Officer Zachary Broden, Officer Joshua Ward, and Officer Hayden Hernandez graduated the Chicago Police Metro Academy. Officer Broden received 2 awards out of 4. He received the top firearms proficiency and the top physical fitness award, so congratulations to him. Lieutenant Emick has been applying for every grant that she can find for body cams, and we were awarded $10,000 from the insurance program managers group last week, so every little bit helps, so just
totally,
chipping away.
yeah.
Huge.
So, thank you.
Wow, great.
And certainly congratulations, Chief, on the 4 new officers. I know you had told me about the firearms. I didn't know the physical fitness side of it, too, so
Yeah.
good for him. Thank you very much. Trustee Dalzell, anything else?
Nothing else, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. We'll go to Public Work and Boat Launch Committee.
First, I have the presentation of the Public Works December 2023 and January 2024 monthly activity reports. Next, I have the request to approve amending portions of ordinance number 2014-12-3, Chapter 17 of the Village Code regarding trees in public right-of-way and nuisance trees. Number 1, Section 17 through 60, purpose and intent. Number 2, Section 17 through 61, definitions. Number 3, Section 17 through 64, tree, shrub maintenance and planting approval. Number 4, Section 17 through 65, a tree contractor registration. Add Section 17 through 75, servability. Number 3, request for consensus to have the village attorney draft an ordinance amending portions of ordinance number 2014-12-3, Chapter 17 of the Village Code regarding trees in public right-of-way and nuisance trees. Number 4, request to approve having a QR app used at the village boat launch. The app will be an optional method of paying for parking for anyone using the boat launch. The attendants will still be on site, as well as existing cash box for those who prefer to pay cash. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Can we discuss a couple things of that, please?
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
On the number 3 for the village code modification and 2, I think it's a great idea, but while some of the information has been provided there adds specifically the section H for clear site, which I would really appreciate, because that does cause a nuisance when people have big shrubbery or planters or whatever at intersections, and driving a lower car myself, I can appreciate that. It speaks to, and I have no idea on how to say Arbor specifications manual. Been in reviewing one of those that was on the internet, which we all know is true. Aurora, Illinois had a really nice one by appearance, but theirs didn't speak to the clear sight issue, whereas what was offered did. But
Hey, Mike.
I don't know, as I was looking for the specifications of that, the thing that we always used was the manual uniform traffic control devices with regards to the sight distance, stopping distance. So I just want to make sure that if we're going to adopt this specifications manual, it includes the clear sight aspect of it. And I don't know which one. I've always used the manual uniform traffic control devices. So I just want to make sure that that's addressed as far as how that determination is made rather than just best guess.
Yeah, I agree with you. It should match the uniform traffic control devices, so we'll definitely look into that.
Perfect. And on number 4, the QR code, I thought the presentation was fine, but the documentation that's in there as provided talks to us as we're the city of Alsip.
Oh, I saw that, yeah.
And then they talk about the address for the boat launch being 12700 Laramie, and it's actually 5399 West Platinum Drive.
Oh, okay. No, I'll tweak all that. I'll bring it back to you folks next week. I'll go through that whole thing again. She actually gave it to me on like at the, I think when I was just submitting it, that's when I got that contract.
Yeah.
So I'll tweak all that, yes.
Thank you.
And then, great point though, too, what you were saying. Which part of that, Mike, that do we need to adjust? What Trustee Dalzell was saying about sightlines. I got that in front of me here.
It was section H, referred to the thing that they call clear sight. It's on page.
So the question I would have, Mike, is what do we do with, say, shrubbery that is currently in clear violation of that section?
Page 35.
So first, we'll make notification to the resident to have them remove on the property if it's something that they planted. We'll give them a certain amount of time to remove it. Otherwise, we'll go in there and remove it for them.
We will not allow it to continue to exist.
Correct.
Okay.
I got it, Rick. H.
Yeah, H. Dave says page 35.
And we want that to read, again, Trustee, we want to follow the same.
Well, I've seen what a couple of the other municipalities had, and the one that was close by that looked nice was Aurora's. But I didn't see inside their document of the specifications manual, arboricultural specification manual, with regards to what was included here in the documentation that were provided for the clear sight, and I was so glad that was in there.
Yeah, no, that one's a big.
Right.
So many people, the amount of time that we've spent too, even just talking about variances where people want to put a fence down their driveway, and it's like, no, because if it's blocking the clear sight.
Exactly.
And
No, understood. No, I made a note that, so Mike, we'll adjust that before we bring it back for approval, okay? And again, as you said, Trustee Dalzell and Trustee Murphy, after you read that, I think the QR code is a great idea. No problem there. But I still favor the idea of something that only costs $7, of having the opportunity to pay cash for something there if you wish. If you didn't have the money, certainly use the QR code because it's going to be an extra $1 to use that. But again, it's just a convenience thing, and we have to wait for our money to come back from them. They're going to collect all that money, and in other words, it's not necessarily a windfall for us, but Mike, for the most part, those revenues that we bring in from the boat launch are just enough to kind of cover the staffing.
Exactly.
And I don't want to abandon the staffing. There's way too much opportunity for liabilities now with full-service bathrooms and possible emergency efforts and everything else yet, too. It's nice to have somebody physically that can pick up the phone and make a call and stuff there,
Yeah.
too.
And we're seeing more fishing tournaments taking place each
Sure.
summer now, too, so we're up to like 6 to 10 events each year, just with that.
And don't they usually prepay or pay a set amount?
They usually pay a set
Separately?
amount once they come in. They don't prepay, but they,
Well,
when they get there.
negotiate.
Yeah.
Ahead of time. I mean, so each of the individual boats isn't paying as they're launching. It's
Right.
the organizer of the tournament.
Correct.
We've actually never discounted anything. We treat everybody the
No,
same.
we've never
but
discounted it.
But again, if they say, I'm coming in with 20 boats or whatever, you might have a kitty there. Somebody's paying for the 20 boats
Right.
and stuff, that's all.
Yep.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, what are they fishing for out of the CalSag?
I could not tell you. I don't know.
It's an opportunity for those bass boats to go 90 miles an hour.
That's right. The-
Understood.
Some guys, some of the big dogs, they got 2 motors, not one. You know, they're so.
I don't know if they're actually fishing out of the canal. I think they're just
Or they-
launching from the canal.
Yeah, they're going out to the
out
lake.
to somewhere else, but
Fishing
I'd
tournament,
like to think that.
CalSag.
Mike, out of curiosity, how many seasonal passes have we been doing lately?
I think we usually see about a dozen
That's it,
season,
huh?
yeah.
Okay.
As long as we're, real quick, while we're talking about the boat launch too, Mike and I and Roger, we all met with the engineers from IDOT recently about closing the bridge on 127th Street. I was told today that is still, they were slightly delayed, but they're going to close that bridge within the next 14 days. And, but we also asked, you're not going to utilize our boat launch for your barge because they're going to be working, they said no, that they're going to be tying off at Ozinga, which is a much better location, much better situated to handle their barge and everything too.
Plus, it won't break our dock.
That too, right. We've had that problem before, but no, they're going to park their barge near at Ozinga, which is much closer to the work site as well then too. But unfortunately, we've done everything we could. We had 4 engineers in front of us, and we have no say in this. This is a state project, and they're telling us. I asked, when's the last time was that bridge addressed regarding strengthening? 1968 is when it was last worked on, and they're saying this is a trestle bridge, so every component to the bridge is part of the next. It's all independent on the next piece it touches, and they had some pictures they showed us of necessary welding and everything else, and it needs to be addressed. And I don't like it any more than anybody else, but I did ask if they would at least extend left-hand turn lights and stuff like that at the affected intersections, let's say near Portillo's on Cicero, or even near the electrician school on 115th and Ridgeland. But even for trucking purposes, with Class 2 trucking routes, they were explaining something to Becky about, like 115th Street is a Class 2 truck route, but it's got to touch another Class 2 truck route. So they're actually pushing the trucks down to 111th Street at some point yet, too. So it's a mess. Jay, you're all over this, I know, right?
How long are they saying,
So just deal with it.
Yeah,
how long are they expecting construction to be?
9 months.
Until
So
December.
it's the same 9 months that we saw from Route 83 and Archer's.
Yeah, so they're talking, once they close this, it probably won't reopen until about December 1st.
Yeah.
So you're going to go the whole summer with that being shut down. What a mess. So, and I apologize for them, but there's not much more we could do. How about it? We had what we thought was just a conversation. I don't know if it was a good one, but we talked to them about this yet too.
So businesses are going to suffer.
Oh, all the
Again,
businesses.
they got murdered last year.
I got 3 calls on Friday from everybody over near Kroll Drive, all those small independent businesses, they're all over there. I had 3 businesses calling me from there. Certainly not happy. And actually, now they're,
It'd be a lot easier for them to make a left turn.
well, I tell you what, there's talk of a group or a class action suit of some type. They're trying to get an attorney to try and see if they can stop or do more. I'm like, I don't know that an attorney would understand the value of the safety of that bridge. I mean, we're talking about strengthening a bridge here, so I'm not saying they're wrong, but I don't know how you defer, because that's what they were telling us, Mike, about it. You can't just do one side or the other,
Right.
because everything is independent as you touch it. And the whole thing, if not done properly, obviously could be a catastrophe, is what they were telling us, so.
And then the other side of it, 127th is a state road, so we have no jurisdiction.
Right. So, moving along, we had our sewer and water report, trustee Navas
Did you want
Barza.
to do a consensus?
No report.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize.
I don't know for sure. I'm just asking before you go on.
Yeah, again, I hate just jumping in front of stuff. I'd like to get trustee Dalzell, as you said, we'll make those adjustments to the letter, we're going to amend letter H, the clear site measuring, the clear site distance, rather, for shrubs. But can I get a consensus to have the attorney draft an ordinance amending portions of ordinance number 2014-12-3?
Roll call number 2 for consensus, trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez Mendoza is absent. Trustee McLaughlin.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Navas Barza.
Yes.
Trustee Peretta.
Yes.
You have your consensus.
Thank you very much. I'll let trustee, I'm sorry, I was calling that, Attorney Cancarino. Next, we had sewer and water report, trustee Navas Barza.
No report.
Dan, ballpark, with those estimates that we got tonight for the water main and so forth, did you have anything in that bid package that says when you might want to start doing that work, or are they telling you?
One of the contractors wanted to start, in March, but the current contractor, the lowest bid, I'll check with him, but I don't know what his timeline is.
Okay, so Dan wasn't mic'd up, but you're going to check with the contractor to find out. Okay, thanks, Dan. Building and Health Department, trustee Peretta.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to present a letter of recognition for the Alsip Fire Department and Charles Harding. This letter of recognition is from Commissioner Roger Early, and the letter reads, I would like to thank the Alsip Fire Department and Charles Harding for providing his CPR expertise to the staff at Heritage and at the clerical staff in the clerk's office, building department, and water department. He kept the class informative, interesting, and was very receptive to questions. And once again, that was from Commissioner Roger Early. Thank you, Roger. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Raj, when did he do that? Was he teaching people at Heritage CPR?
We did it February 1st and February 3rd.
February 1st and 3rd you did. Nice. Thank you. Okay. Next, we had the Human Resource and Insurance Report. Trustee Murphy.
No report tonight, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you. Village Economic Special Committee Reports, Economic Development. Trustee Navas Barza.
DA's Corned Beef Deli has announced its opening day will be Thursday, 2/29/24 at 4001 West 127th Street at the former Dunkin' Donuts location. And that's all I have.
Okay. Thank you. Village Properties. Trustee McLaughlin.
I have nothing actually on the agenda this evening, Mayor, but I'm guessing Roger probably wants to talk to us about a truck, or no?
Right now, I'm looking to get pricing for state pricing, and then I'll bring it back to the board once I have state pricing, and then ask the board if you guys would like to go out to bid or utilize the state pricing. But at this point, I have not gotten anything back from either one.
Okay. So Roger's confirming state pricing on a truck for the Heritage Apartments.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Mike, I noticed, I want to go back real quick to the Public Work report. No snow plowing last month, huh?
No. Nope.
Darn it.
Oh.
Isn't that something? You went a January with no snow plowing.
Hey,
You know?
we're not all
February,
set.
I'm sorry. February, no snow plowing.
How about 70 degrees in February?
I'm sorry, we did have a little bit of plowing in January, but yeah, February, no snow plowing in February. Next, we have the ordinance legislation, trustee Peretta.
No report, Mayor.
Okay. Planning and Zoning and Licenses Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a presentation of a list of licenses dated Monday, February 12th, 2024, through Friday, February 23rd of 2024. And that's all I have this evening.
Okay. Anybody have any presentations, petitions, or communications they want to share? I had a couple here. Please keep in mind, next month, Saturday, March 23rd, from 9:30 till 3:30 at Prairie Junior High School, 119th and Costner, will be the annual Alsip Chamber of Commerce Community Expo. This will be their 19th year doing the Community Expo. Also, after that, down the road, we're going to have our Village of Alsip Cleanup Day. Our village-wide cleanup day will be Saturday, May 11th. And again, that goes 9 in the morning until noon. And then I also had a request by the Stagg High School Music Boosters. Could you please announce, Mayor, that they're going to have, could you please announce the attached information? Okay, so they're having, Stagg High School has, their Music Boosters are going to have an Art for the Season, an Arts and Crafts Festival, March 16th and 17th. And on the 16th, that goes from 9 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. The 17th will be 10 until 3. Certainly, they're going to have arts and craft booths, vendor booths, lunch and food sampling, and certainly raffles as well, too. Madam Clerk, you can have this if you want. Okay. And that's all I had. So, did anybody have any unfinished business they want to discuss? Any new business? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. We're going to adjourn this meeting at 8:43 p.m. Please enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you very much.